And Dragonfly specifically was created so that the ladies have a job and a soft landing when they're released from prison, because it's very hard, as I'm sure you know, for the formerly incarcerated to find work. And especially when you're first released and have nowhere to go, you need a place to land.
Welcome to Zestful Aging, where I speak with changemakers from all over the world who are contributing to the common good. Contributing to the common good in even the smallest of ways is proven to help us age with vitality and deep contentment. I'm your host, Nicole Christina, psychotherapist and fellow Zestful Ager. My goal is to share optimism about aging and introduce you to guests who will inspire you to live with zest. And to find out more about this podcast, hop on over to zestfulaging.com. And while you're there, sign up for my weekly email newsletter, The Insider, where you will get behind-the-scenes looks at our guests and other fun tidbits. If you love the podcast, I'd be grateful if you shared it with your friends. Our music is courtesy of Judy Banker, a previous guest. Find out more at judybanker.com, and our technical director is Stephen Litweiler.
Have you ever had one of those synchronous experiences where everything falls exactly into place? Well, this spring I traveled to Florida for the National Senior Games and interviewed the self-proclaimed Python Avenger of the Everglades. That interview is airing soon. Back to the story. I wanted to check into my hotel room, but it was too early. So what's the logical thing to do when you have some time to kill and you're far from home? If you said thrifting, you are right. I Googled best thrift stores near me and came across a modest storefront with a sign, Dragonfly Thrift Shop. But as soon as I walked in, I could tell this was no ordinary thrift shop. Posters and literature explain that the proceeds went to women ex-felons in Florida to help them rebuild their shattered lives. The woman at the desk told me that all of the volunteers were ex-felons and had benefited from this program. So it took about 1 second for me to jump on the opportunity to learn more about the program and ask if I could interview the manager. Sure, the clerk said. She's at lunch and she'll be back in about 15 minutes. And then she directed me to another thrift store in Little Havana, which was very cool. And I returned in about a half an hour to be introduced to the manager, Nancy DeNike. She talked to me about LEAP, the program she went through herself, and the one she's now helping with. For 14 years, LEAP has been one of the only nonprofits in the country to focus exclusively on supporting formerly incarcerated women heal by providing them education, housing, and employment. What follows is the interview I had on the spot with my portable mic with Nancy DeNike, former felon and now manager of Dragonfly Thrift Boutique in Florida. And I think my gratitude for this opportunity will come through. Enjoy. And I am here in person with Nancy DeNike. And she's the store manager of Dragonfly Thrift. We're in Miami, Florida, not far from Little Havana, right? Or Havana, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And I just came upon this place, pure serendipity, because I'm down here, as you know, doing the National Senior Games. Drove down this morning to come to Miami to do the Python gig tomorrow night, fell upon this place, learned about it, and knew I wanted to know more, and I know my audience would love to know more. So let's start, Nancy, just why is this a different kind of thrift store?
Great. Well, Dragonfly Thrift Boutique was created as a offshoot from the organization LEAP, which stands for Ladies Empowerment Action Program. And LEAP is an organization that helps women who are incarcerated. They have an in-prison program, and they also extend that help to when the ladies are released. And Dragonfly specifically was created so that the ladies have a job and a soft landing when they're released from prison, because it's very hard, as I'm sure you know, for the formerly incarcerated to find work. And especially when you're first released and have nowhere to go, you need a place to land.
I see. And is it for people, just geographically, is it for people in Dade County? Is it like, what's the geography that you cover with your program?
LEAP goes to all the state prisons in Florida. And our executive director, Malia Lindquist, travels to the prisons. This is for the female population. Mm-hmm. And she interviews the girls who are interested 8 to 6 months before they're released. Mm-hmm. And then she accepts as many as the prison allows and they have space for. And then they go through a program that's 5 to 6 months in the prison before they leave, which addresses addiction issues, trauma issues, and mental illness issues. And they go through that program. And then when they graduate, if they want to stay in the Miami area, we have 2 transition houses, and we have the thrift store where they can start work, and they're guaranteed at least 3 months of employment here.
Mm-hmm. So what are the characteristics of women in prison who decide to join the program and say, yes, I want to sign up for LEAP?
Well, it's women who either do not have a place to go, I mean literally don't have a place to go, mm-hmm. or that know the place that they have to go will not be healthy for them.
Okay.
Or it's women who want to change their life and see as an opportunity. That's basically it.
Well, is there something that you've seen? Because it seems to me, as a psychotherapist, that if you have a trauma background, of course, that colors everything that happens. And I'm just wondering, how somebody is able to see through that and say, yes, I have some clarity and I know I need to go a different way. Well, do you see anything in these women who are carrying what I'm sure a huge proportion of your women have a trauma history? Mm-hmm. Is it just something we don't understand, or have you seen something?
Well, I think there's a lot that the general public does not understand because they haven't experienced incarceration. And I'm a LEAP graduate myself, mm-hmm. and I was incarcerated, so I can give firsthand information on that because before that I was the general public. I am not someone who had a criminal record. I am someone who had a decent family life, graduated from college, mm-hmm. I had a career. Midlife, my life just turned upside down. I suffered from some very traumatic experiences and trauma. I lost loved ones. I lost my business. I was losing my home. I ended up taking money from my employer, and then I was arrested. But I was 56 years of age when that happened. And it wasn't my lifestyle. I didn't know anything about the criminal justice system. And the most shocking thing to me was when I got to prison after spending 11 months in county jail, which is a whole nother story, maybe too long for this podcast. But what I found was that the women were not criminals. They were not bad people. They were people who were suffering. The women especially. Now, I can't speak for the men.
Yes. Yeah.
But the women, what I saw were women suffering from abuse, from mental illness, from addiction, from poverty. And I was shocked. I was like, wow. The prison couldn't stay open if they just kept people that really aren't capable, that really are, what do you want to say, hardened criminals.
Meaning
honestly.
that, are you saying that
it's such a wide net. It's not many hard criminals.
Yes.
It's people who got unlucky.
Well, no, it's people who have many people who haven't even gotten a chance in life. You know, we talk about second chances, but what about a first chance? I met women there who have been raped since the age of 3. How do you get over that? You know, it's so many stories. It's amazing. So I think I've gotten off topic of what the question was in the beginning.
That's okay.
However,
yeah.
What I wanted to bring it around to was that I don't think the general public understands who we're locking up. And I think that it's changed since the opioid crisis.
Yes.
There's a tremendous amount of people who are locked up for drug addiction that, you know, maybe that's not the proper place for them, or that's just where they end up at the end.
Yes.
And, you know, here at LEAP, we're trying to really break the stigma of how people think about the incarcerated.
Okay.
Because what we see is, these are bad people, you know,
it's us and them.
It's us and them.
It's the citizens and the bad people.
It's the citizens and the bad people. And what was, my eyes were opened up to when I got there was, no, we've suffered the same things, some much more than others. And, the way to solve this, unfortunately, is not prison. It's, you know, compassion, and it's the kind of work that you do, you know, and these are things that are deep-seated that we have to get to the bottom to. And
it's a humanity issue.
It's a humanity issue.
It's not a crime issue per se.
Exactly.
So the
Thank you.
crime is here, but the humanity, if you're looking at, you know, I think about sort of a dandelion. Let's look really more at the roots. And also, and you know more about this than I do, but the economics. If you're born into poverty and you're a person of color,
yes,
your chances of sort of thriving in this society are just greatly minimized.
yes. There's a lot of factors involved, and, you know, I say, unfortunately, when someone's been to prison, it's like people shun them. And it's the same population that you're trying to help who are homeless. It's the same population that you're trying to help when you're giving money for mental illness. It's the same population that you're trying to help when you're helping battered women or abused women. This is just where they end up at the end when they don't get the help. That's what I saw. And my eyes were just like, oh my God, you know?
It was a shock to you.
It was a shock. Yeah. I was like, wow. And so, you know, I was one of those people that at the end I didn't know where I was going to go. And LEAP, thank goodness, comes into the prison where I was. And I applied, and I was accepted, and there wasn't a bed for me, but by the end of the time I spent in the program, there was.
Did that help you serve your time, knowing that there was something waiting for you?
It did. Unfortunately, I didn't know till, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months before I was to be released.
That you had a
little
spot.
Frightening. But one thing that you had mentioned at the beginning, or the beginning of this question, was, you know, what type of women will do this? Unfortunately, I think in a desperate situation, you know, you do what you have to do, and it might be the only opportunity for them. This is the only program I know of like this for women. Definitely the only program like this in Miami. And I think that some of the women, too, the only choice they might have had was to go to what they call work release, which is something that they do at the last part of your sentence, where you kind of have one foot in freedom and one foot in the prison. But honestly, it's very hard to make enough money to save to get out and do anything with. So I looked at it that way and meant, you know what, I'm going to take this opportunity. I don't know what it's about. I don't know how much it's going to help, but I don't like the other option. And you know, I think that happens to women there. But these classes are small. We need funding. So, first of all, the space that the prison allows is, a classroom setting. So the classes might be 30, 35 women at a time. And then, there's a lot more women to serve there, obviously. But LEAP's been growing. They've been growing since I've been out, even during COVID. We created a virtual academy, too, that reaches out to felons from all over the country, ex-felons, to help start a small business. And that's something that's addressed in the LEAP program within the prison, too. First, they address the issues of trauma and addiction, and then they go in and show you, okay, here's hope for your future. And they have an entrepreneurial program where the women develop mini businesses, a micro business, and then they have that business plan to walk out the door with, and that's their hope.
Do you have any podcasts that are women who have been incarcerated talking about their journey?
We don't have a podcast. We do speak up quite a bit in our area here, and no, that's a great thought, though.
I know that out of San Quentin, there's a very famous podcast of the men there who are incarcerated and to do a podcast.
I've heard of that one.
And I just think the women's experience is probably so different, especially if they're mothers or whatever. And I'm sure there's a place for that, and we can talk about that after we end. So, talk to me a little bit about trauma treatment.
Well, as far as the treatment that the ladies go through while they're still in prison, there's a lot of journaling. There's a lot of group discussion and one-on-one discussion. The ladies are put in a secure place where they feel comfortable to speak. We have a marvelous mental health, I call him the Zen guru of recovery. His name is Dale Quaint, and he's wonderful, and he goes into the prison, and he has a history of addiction and recovery. And the women, they call him Saint Quaint because he's so wonderful.
Oh, wow.
But he just makes them feel comfortable talking about the trauma and the addiction because he's an open book. And so he goes in there and he says, you can speak it here.
I've heard it. Yeah,
you're accepted. You won't be judged, and I can top any story you have. And he's just wonderful.
That says a lot because many women trauma survivors are not interested in speaking to men about their trauma. So he must really have a special way of making it feel safe.
Yes, yes, he's very special. So we're really, really lucky to have him. We also have a wonderful case manager. Her name is Corrine Webb, and she goes in and runs the business portion and the entrepreneurial portion. And she's, I call her half mother, half guardian angel. She also meets you as you're released, make sure you're fed, you're clothed, you're housed, you get to your appointments on time. She deals with you with probation, with your mental and physical health.
Wow.
And she's a superwoman, and we're really, really lucky to have her, too.
She's employed by LEAP or
yes,
by
she's a staff member of LEAP. And so we're lucky to have the individuals, and we're small, but we're mighty. We have some really, really key players
sounds like
that
it.
help with all these things. And, we're fairly small, but we're trying to, of course, always raise the funds every year. And
you go out and you.
We're supported by grants, and this year, for the first time, we received county money, which is really big for us. And we have very generous donors that are repeat donors. And Malia Lindquist is our fearless leader, and she goes out and she shakes the money tree, and she's really good at it. And where our cause, when people hear about it and they understand, there's learning that happens there, there's more acceptance that happens there, and there's more support that comes from that. Our space here at Dragonfly serves for also not just Dragonfly, but Leap. So we have events here so that people can see who we are. They love that the ladies work here. Many of the ladies will share their personal stories, and it touches people's hearts, and they start to have an understanding for the formerly incarcerated and what has happened in these women's lives. And it's magical. It's a beautiful thing. It really is.
So it sounds like it has given you so much more than a job.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I've finally, it's so crazy because I remember one day, when our transition houses are within walking distance, and I have a car now, but I walked for the first year and a half. And I remember one day walking to work, and I hadn't been walking that long, and I just burst into tears because I went, oh my gosh, my friends from now on and my family may all be ex-felons. And then I was like, and I'm just so okay with that. It was just this moment. And I went,
your identity
it doesn't matter,
There's no judgment.
There's no judgment.
It's like, you've done it, I've done it, okay. And here I am.
If any of us were held for our past mistakes, my goodness, but...
here's the rock. Who wants to be the first one to throw it?
There's almost a freedom in being able to be that open and go, okay, all you have to do is Google my name. You're going to see it all. So I've been splayed open, and there's a freedom in that, in a sick way, but there is, it's like, okay, I'm rolling over. You can have me. So
that you can accept yourself with every part of you.
And that helps me to accept other people and what they've been through. When they come in the door, they know they're accepted here. And customers also accept them, and they know what we're about.
I see.
And if they don't, we tell them.
It's self-selecting. So you're not going to get, you're going to get a certain kind of person who wants to contribute.
Yes. Yes. And it makes it, in those 3 months or longer, if the ladies stay longer, sometimes they do, they build a self-confidence, and they build a self-worth, and they build a self-acceptance, so that it doesn't matter so much what someone else might wag their finger at them or judge them. They're like, I know who I am when they walk out of here. And so it gives them the confidence to go into an interview and say, this is my past. Here it is. This is what happened. But I want another chance, and this is what I can do for you and what I can offer you. When you... And if they're not open to it, then they don't need to be there anyway, and they know it, and they can just walk away and go to the next person. So it's pretty cool.
It sounds so profound.
It's cool. I've been here 2 years now, and I don't even want to leave.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that way the whole time, but it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding.
How is it for you to live in a state that is not known for its I'm trying to think of a way to say this in a diplomatic way. It's not known for its compassion for sort of the have-nots that I think the rest of the country wonders about some of the decisions of the governor here, and just wonder about it. Is that something that you think about, being in an environment in which maybe your initiatives might not be understood, or are you in your own kind of world and bubble and know that you're with your people, you're supported, and it doesn't matter? I'm just wondering if that's kind of a thing that swirls around.
Yes, I understand where you're coming from with that. I think what I've learned through my experiences is that people don't change until it affects them. And when some of the haves have a granddaughter who gets in trouble with drugs, or spends the night in a jail, which they probably wouldn't because they'd probably get them out. But when that starts hitting home, that's when things change.
I see. They have to feel it.
Unfortunately.
It won't be us and them anymore.
No, and it's a gradual process, I think. And I love the state of Florida. I was born and raised here, and I've always embraced it, you know, and I know, politically it goes through its things, and I know that there's a lot of money in Florida, and sometimes when there's a lot of money, there's, an attitude that might come with that. But I've also met people with money that are very generous and that come from a whole different mindset. So I think it's more about education. And you want to think that everybody with money is highly educated and highly advanced, and that's not necessarily two and two might not go together. And it's about education and open-mindedness, I think.
And empathy.
And empathy. But I know for myself, my empathy has come from pain, unfortunately. And I don't know the other ways to acquire that. I mean, I'm sure there's empathetic people who are born that way. But my sweetness has come through suffering and then having my come to Jesus moment with myself, So
your lived experience, and you're talking about resilience, that you have been able to find resilience.
I guess. I don't know. I just know that I'm happy every day I wake up. I can tell you that. And that's a gift. It was a hard way to get there, but
it's so interesting because I interview so many people who are, midlife, post-menopausal, and perhaps not to your extent, but most people have been brought to their knees in one way or another with illness, with all kinds of stuff. And it's really a question of what do you do then? Now what? You're on your knees. You might be in a fetal position. And now what?
Yeah.
Because it's a rare person who gets into middle life, older life, and doesn't get tested.
Of course.
Not to the extent that some people, and certainly that you have. But that's what I've seen with the folks that have spoken to me.
Yeah, and with incarceration, I think the major thing you have to get over is the shame and guilt that goes along with that, and what other people, of course, think about it,
right?
And all of that. So that's a big hump to go over. But I definitely have compared it to other life-changing forces like cancer, divorce, bankruptcy, loss of a loved one, and those things. I think there's different levels. And it just depends on what it takes for the individual. And I think, in my mind, God gives us what we need to come to that decision. And what's right for one person might not work for another. I mean, you see people that go to prison over and over, and I think they just get lost in the cycle because, just like the welfare system and all these different cycles that happen that are negative.
There's a hopelessness there, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
That's interesting. You talked about cancer and some of these things, but people will bring casseroles over if you have cancer.
Absolutely.
And they'll say, oh, me too. I had breast cancer, pink ribbon sisters. That's not what happens when you get out of prison.
That's why why Leap's so unusual. And why the story is so unusual. And why I feel like, I don't know, I don't want to get too holy on you, but, Jesus was friends with the prisoners. I mean, honestly, we have to have compassion. We have to question to ourselves, why did this person end up there? I lived in a lifer's dorm, which is women serving a life sentence for 2 years. Now, I don't know why they put me there, but they did. And I thank God for it, because I learned so much from those women, and I see how one small moment of, crime of passion can happen, which many times for those women, that's what it was. They'd suffer abuse for many years, and then they just snap.
Mm-hmm.
And how that can affect the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. And nothing made me sadder than to meet someone in their 20s where that happened, and they've been incarcerated for 30 years. And they're now in their 50s. It's quite emotional, but it made me see how, it taught me a lot about forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
About forgiveness. And my heart goes out to anybody who has had someone, lost someone to murder or anything like that in their families.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Understood.
Yeah, I'm not. I know there's pains of all kinds, I guess is what I'm saying.
But when life is going well, you're not going to take somebody else's life. When things are, when you feel powerful, you have a sense of agency, you're happy. That's not how this happens.
No, especially, like I say, I can't speak for all cases, but what I saw was that saying, hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
It's very, very true.
Yeah.
It's that's what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has their own opinion, but it has changed my life, for sure.
Were you accepted as a white woman who had come from, it sounds like, a more middle class background? Were there feelings about that with some of the other women?
Well, it's kind of interesting. In prison, what I found was the hierarchy is absolutely opposite of what it is out here in society. And the blacks are the top, and then the more of the Latinos, and then the white are on the bottom. And even though the prison I was in, the majority of the population was white, but I don't know, that maybe is something that's developed over the years.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Mm-hmm. Who has the power?
Yeah, and I don't know, I think it was a blessing in disguise, because it taught me a lot about how Black women feel in our society. Mm-hmm. And I experienced prejudice, and I kind of embraced that, because it's like, wow, this is horrible, and this is what we do. And we don't mean to be judgmental, but I think we're raised in a certain way, and we have certain thoughts. A lot of times I tell people, before this experience, I wouldn't have hired an ex-felon to do my yard work, honestly. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's just setting yourself up to have your house case or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, I had to look at, now I'm viewed as one of those people, that thing, and go, but what are the similarities? And then if you start looking at the similarities, it's a much better way to go. Mm-hmm. And realize, oh my gosh, these people they feel responsible, and they feel like they're letting people down. There's mothers in there, there's grandmothers in there, there's, wives in there, there's, especially women, we're nurturers, and when you're not able to do that, the shame and the guilt that goes along with that and all, we have so much in common. And I had a variety of bunkmates, as you can imagine, and so all walks of life. Roommates that had, I call them roommates, but they call them bunkies in prison, but that were all tatted up, that had a career selling crack, that may have came from a different country, and things are different in their country, and they got on the wrong track. All kinds of people, but when you start looking at the similarities, you're much better off, and you realize we're really all one. We really have the same desires, the same wants in life.
We all want to belong.
We all want to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Or mammals at the bottom,
We're
you
mammals.
know.
We are.
At the end of the day, we
We're
all want to
human
cuddle and be
Yeah.
connected,
Yeah.
even if it's to a gang member, a fellow gang member, or somebody.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
What do you want the people listening to? I mean, you've given so many beautiful lessons. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you want people to know about your experience or Dragonfly or anything that I haven't
I
asked you?
I just hope that people will keep an open mindedness about other people's paths and journeys.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as LEAP, look into our organization. Get on the website, Ladies Empowerment Action Program. It's leapforladies.org
Mm-hmm.
or dragonflythrift.org. It'll take you to the same place. We have an online store. We'd love for you to visit the shop, have the experience of meeting the ladies. Every dollar, I promise you, every dollar goes to the ladies and helping the ladies get another start. It's a beautiful cause. And, I know there's people out there that give money all the time to saving rescued pets, and those kind of causes. This is just as worthy. Honestly, prison is a pound for people. That's exactly what's going on
I
there.
see.
So, I hope that, it's hard with people. It's harder, I think. You look at, I always think of this because I used to work in a shelter for rescued pets.
Oh, boy.
And I think, oh my gosh, I had so much compassion for animals, but I had no compassion for people before this happened to me. Not the same way. Because people can be mean.
They can.
And so it's easy to go, oh my gosh, and throw a label at them and go, you're this or you're that. But honestly, if people had their mouths shut and couldn't talk like animals, we'd probably be a lot more compassionate.
That's the trick.
Right?
Don't talk so much.
Don't talk so much. But, I don't know. It's, the world's a big old mess, and people are a big old mess. And, if we could just have a little acceptance and try to find out why, ask the question. We're doing a campaign right now called the More Than campaign, and it's about being more than a label. Like I'm more than an ex-felon. I'm a human being, and I think that spreads for everybody.
It's a hashtag more than on your on your social.
More than a wife, more than a mother, more than a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. Bottom line, we're all one.
Sure. I wanted to just make sure our listeners, again, know where to reach you, which is dragonflythrift.org.
Yes.
And leapforladies.org. And I can tell you firsthand, I'm sitting in their shop right now, and it's got a really beautiful feeling and vibe. And I feel very grateful to have just serendipitously fallen onto this meeting, Nancy. I mean, who knew? Salvation Army was closed. I'm waiting to check into my hotel, and I saw this, this ad, and I thought, sure, I'll go down there. And you were so nice to agree to meet with me on no notice, not even short notice. And it's been such an education and such a heartwarming pleasure to speak with you today.
Oh, thanks, Nicole. I love you giving me the opportunity. It's great. Anytime I can talk about this, I will, because I just feel, so strongly about it. So Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for joining us on Zestful Aging. If you like the podcast, please share it with some of your friends. If you think decluttering could help you feel better and you could use a little assistance with that, check out the online course I've developed with professional organizer and designer Carrie Luderin. It's called Too Much Stuff. And too much stuff is different from other courses or articles or guidance you may have used up. We give you clear steps to deal with the clutter and the tools to help you face the overwhelming feelings and the emotions that come up when we're going through our clutter. And a lot of those emotions are just feeling anxious or guilty or just basically flooded with a lot of different confusing feelings. The course is really practical. It's realistic. The lessons are short and punchy, and they're really manageable. We're not trying to set you up for some long exploratory, super in-depth, burdensome experience. We want something really helpful for you right now. We all need help with our anxiety. So being surrounded by more calm and less chaos can really help. So now's a good time to clear out the clutter so we can focus on what's really important in our lives. So find out more at zestfulaging.com. You'll see more about this under the web courses tab. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email at zestfulaging@gmail.com. Thanks so much. And stay tuned next week for another interview with a fascinating and inspiring guest.